Massive stone monuments hold secrets we are only just learning to read. Ancient builders embedded intricate mathematical codes directly into their architecture, from the Great Pyramid to the temples of Angkor Wat. These structures contain precise geometric ratios, advanced astronomical alignments, and fundamental numerical constants, revealing a level of scientific sophistication that reshapes our view of history. By the end of this journey, you will see these ancient wonders not as silent ruins, but as complex messages from the past. Why would civilizations across the globe encode the value of pi and the golden ratio into their most sacred sites? And what profound truth were they trying to preserve for future generations? What does it say about human ingenuity that we are still uncovering their genius today? These ancient builders viewed geometry as far more than lines and angles. It was a sacred language, a visual representation of the universe's hidden order. This profound belief system, known as sacred geometry, forms the very foundation upon which these mathematical codes were built. Think of it as the philosophical blueprint that guided every measurement. For these early master builders, who were often both priests and scientists, specific shapes and ratios were not arbitrary. They were considered fundamental expressions of cosmic truth, a direct bridge between our world and the divine. The elegant spiral of a nautilus shell, the perfect symmetry of a snowflake, these were seen as glimpses into the underlying patterns of creation itself. Architects sought to replicate this cosmic perfection in their work, using forms like the flower of life or the vesica piscis. These intricate patterns were more than just beautiful designs. They were potent symbols believed to hold spiritual power and connect a structure to the energies of the cosmos. By carefully embedding these geometric principles into a temple's layout or a pyramid's proportions, they were doing much more than just constructing a building. They were inscribing a permanent cosmological map, a stone prayer that encoded their entire understanding of the universe, from the cycles of the stars to the nature of the soul. To truly read the messages left in these ancient stones, we must first learn to see through this symbolic lens. It is the key that unlocks the first and most profound layer of their mystery. The Great Pyramid of Giza rises from the desert as a testament to this ancient geometric language. Its sheer scale is staggering, but the true marvel lies hidden within its proportions. Take the pyramid's base perimeter and divide it by twice its original height. The result is a number achingly close to pi, that fundamental constant we use for circles. This is not a rough approximation, but a value that mirrors pi with breathtaking precision. How could a civilization from such a distant era embed this sophisticated mathematical relationship into millions of stone blocks? The alignments offer another profound clue. Each face of the pyramid points almost perfectly toward one of the four cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west, with an error margin so tiny it seems impossible without a deep understanding of the stars. This required more than just a sundial. It demanded a comprehensive grasp of celestial mechanics. Step inside, and the mathematical signature continues. The dimensions of the king's chamber form a perfect Pythagorean 3-4-5 triangle, a cornerstone of geometry that would not be formally theorized for another 2,000 years. These are not random occurrences or happy accidents. They are the deliberate, calculated choices of master builders. The pyramid does not simply contain mathematical ideas. It is a mathematical idea frozen in limestone and granite. It functions as a colossal calculator, its very form whispering the universal constants that govern our world. This leaves us with a powerful question. If this one structure holds such a dense concentration of encoded knowledge, what other secrets are waiting to be unlocked in monuments across the globe? The presence of Pi and Phi across the ancient world is too consistent to ignore. These are not just numbers, they are the fingerprints of a universal design language. Phi, the golden ratio, appears in the way a sunflower's seeds spiral and in the graceful curve of a seashell. It is nature's favorite proportion, and the ancients seem to have adopted it as their own. Look at the Parthenon in Athens. The rectangular facade of this iconic temple fits almost perfectly within a golden rectangle. Its proportions, from the width of the columns to the spacing between them, all whisper this divine ratio, creating a visual harmony that feels instinctively right to us, even thousands of years later. This was a deliberate artistic and spiritual choice, an attempt to build a human-made structure that resonated with the same inherent beauty found in the living world. The same principle echoes within the Great Pyramid. The ratio of the pyramid's apothem, the line from its apex down the center of a face to half its base length, gives us a value incredibly close to Phi. This mathematical elegance was woven directly into the monument's skeletal frame. Meanwhile, Pi, the constant of the circle, shows up in the circular designs of Stonehenge, where the arrangement of the stones and the dimensions of the earthworks reflect a sophisticated understanding of circular geometry and its fundamental ratio. The compelling mystery is this: these are civilizations separated by vast oceans and thousands of years, with no evidence of direct contact. Yet they all chose to encode the same mathematical truths into their most enduring creations. This points to something profound, a shared human intuition for the harmonic principles that underpin our reality. They were not just building shelters or temples, they were constructing models of the cosmos itself, using a numerical code that they believed was the very language of creation. If these constants form a common thread connecting Egypt to Greece and beyond, what other unifying patterns might be hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to recognize the global scale of this ancient project? Across the English Channel, the great stones of Stonehenge stand against the sky, a silent testament to a different kind of intelligence. Here, the code is not locked in static ratios, but is written in the very motion of the heavens. The primary axis of this ancient ring is precisely aligned to frame the solstice sun, capturing the first light of the longest day and the last light of the shortest one. This was no vague gesture toward the sky. It was a deliberate, calculated act that marked the turning points of the year with breathtaking accuracy. But the builder's astronomical vision went far deeper than the sun. The circle of Aubrey holes and the specific placement of the massive sarsen stones appear to track the more subtle, complex dance of the moon. Researchers suggest the monument could predict eclipses and map the moon's 18.6-year metonic cycle, a period where the sun and moon return to the same alignment in the sky. This transforms our understanding of Stonehenge from a simple ceremonial circle into a sophisticated Neolithic observatory, a colossal computer built from earth and stone. Its architects embedded a celestial clock into the landscape, using mathematical foresight to predict events that govern their world, from the optimal time for planting to the most sacred moments for ritual. These stones are the enduring legacy of a lost science of the sky, a civilization that looked up and saw not random stars, but a predictable mathematical order. If a society could encode the complex cycles of the moon into a permanent stone calendar, what other profound connections between earth and sky remain hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to read their silent language? The stones themselves hold another secret, a hidden layer of planning that made such precision possible. To translate their grand geometric visions into reality, ancient engineers relied on a sophisticated global language of measurement. Across continents and cultures, we find evidence of standardized units: the Egyptian royal cubit, the Mesopotamian cubit, and the mysterious megalithic yard spanning prehistoric Europe. These were not simple rulers based on a king's forearm. They were something far more profound, units often derived from the dimensions of our planet itself or the motions of the heavens. Consider the Great Pyramid once more. Its base perimeter seems to be a carefully chosen fraction of 1 minute of latitude, a direct link between a human-made structure and the actual size of the Earth. This suggests its builders possessed a form of global knowledge, a geodetic awareness that we would not expect for thousands of years. The use of such a standardized measure was the key to their success. It allowed teams of workers, separated by vast distances or generations, to replicate the same complex angles and ratios with unwavering consistency. A master architect in Egypt could design a pyramid, and a builder at the quarry miles away would know exactly how to cut each block, all because they shared the same fundamental unit of length. This metrological consistency is a powerful code in its own right. It reveals a hidden network of scientific communication and international planning, a shared understanding that transcended local cultures. When we recognize that the same mathematical ideas were being built using carefully calibrated tools from Britain to the Nile, it forces us to rethink the very connections between our ancient world. What other global projects were they undertaking, their blueprints written not on papyrus but in the universal language of measure? Far across the ocean, the sprawling ruins of Teotihuacan tell a story written in stone and space. Here, along the Grand Avenue of the Dead, the city's 3 colossal pyramids form a geometric puzzle on a monumental scale. The distances between the Pyramid of the Sun, the Pyramid of the Moon, and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent do not form a random arrangement. Instead, they create a vast, invisible network of perfect right-angled triangles, their sides measured in precise whole number ratios like 3, 4, and 5. This is the unmistakable signature of a Pythagorean triple, a cornerstone of geometry that defines the perfect proportions of a right triangle. The sheer scale of this application is what stuns the modern mind. This is not a small detail carved into a single wall, but a master plan etched across the entire urban landscape, a geometric blueprint for a sacred city. The architects of Teotihuacan were not merely stacking stones. They were weaving a mathematical grid into the very earth, using the Pythagorean theorem over 1,000 years before the man himself was born in Greece. This discovery forces a profound shift in our perspective. It reveals a shared global fascination with fundamental mathematical truths, a universal language of shape and number that emerged independently across continents. How could such a specific geometric principle appear in 2 worlds separated by an entire ocean? The answer may lie not in contact, but in a deeper, shared human discovery of the inherent order of the universe itself. The city's layout was a physical expression of cosmic harmony, a belief that by building according to these perfect ratios, they could align their world with the divine. So we are left with a city that is itself a mathematical diagram, a silent testament to a lost science of space that understood the power of numbers to shape reality. This symbolic quest to harmonize earth and sky finds its ultimate expression in a timeless geometric challenge. For centuries, mathematicians grappled with the problem of squaring the circle, trying to construct a square with the exact same area as a given circle using only the simplest tools. We now know this is mathematically impossible to achieve with perfect precision, yet this did not stop ancient builders from pursuing its profound symbolic meaning. They were not attempting a literal calculation, but rather creating a stone metaphor for cosmic balance, The Great Pyramid embodies this idea perfectly. Its base perimeter is nearly identical to the circumference of a circle whose radius is the pyramid's own height. In this single, magnificent structure, the square base of the earthly realm and the circular perfection of the heavens are brought into a breathtaking mathematical union. This architectural feat represents a reconciliation of fundamental opposites, the finite and the infinite, the material and the spiritual. This same symbolic language echoes across Asia in the intricate designs of Hindu and Buddhist mandalas. These sacred diagrams often frame a circular deity within a square palace, a microcosmic temple representing the entire universe. The square signifies the ordered world we inhabit, with its 4 cardinal directions and solid foundations. The circle represents the boundless, cyclical, and celestial realm of the divine. By perfectly integrating these 2 shapes, the mandala becomes a map for spiritual awakening, guiding the observer toward inner harmony. The temples built to house these mandalas physically enact this same principle, their square bases and soaring circular spires serving as a bridge between humanity and the cosmos. This was never about a failed geometric exercise. It was a monumental philosophical statement, a meditation on unity carved in stone. The ancients encoded this deep understanding into their architecture to inspire contemplation, to remind all who entered that our world and the heavens are not separate, but part of one continuous, harmonious whole. If these builders could express such a complex spiritual truth through pure geometry, what other profound insights about the nature of reality are still waiting for us to decipher in the silent alignment of their stones? The mathematical blueprint reaches its most ambitious scale in the jungles of Cambodia. Angkor Wat does not simply face the stars, it captures a precise moment of cosmic time within its stone foundations. Its 5 iconic towers are not a random arrangement, they are a terrestrial map of the constellation Draco, perfectly positioned as it would have appeared in the sky above on the spring equinox in the year 10,500 BC. This date was not an arbitrary choice. It held immense mythological weight, harking back to a golden age in Hindu belief, a time of cosmic origins. The builders encoded this celestial snapshot into their temple, forever anchoring their sacred site to a specific, profound alignment in the deep past. But the astronomical coding runs even deeper. The vast outer wall and the immense length of the main causeway are not just practical features. Their dimensions correspond directly to the durations of the 4 yugas, the vast cycles of time that define the creation and dissolution of the universe in Hindu cosmology. We see a direct translation of myth into measurement, where a spiritual concept of time is given physical form in the temple's very footprint. This is architecture as a cosmological clock, its stones counting out the eons. Every step a visitor takes across the causeway is a journey across these cosmic ages, a physical walk through a philosophical timeline. How did a civilization create a structure that functions simultaneously as a map, a calendar, and a spiritual doctrine? The answer lies in the sacred numbers that guided their hands. The entire complex is laid out using ancient Hindu units of measure, and the proportions of its galleries and towers consistently whisper the golden ratio, that same divine proportion found in nature and in ancient Greece. Angkor Wat is far more than a collection of beautiful buildings. It is a scale model of the entire Hindu universe, a 3-dimensional atlas of time, space, and divinity. It stands as perhaps the ultimate expression of this ancient quest, a place where mathematics, astronomy, and faith were woven together into a single, breathtaking vision of cosmic order. The slow, majestic wobble of our planet's axis is one of the grandest clocks in the cosmos. This phenomenon, called the Precession of the Equinoxes, takes approximately 25,800 years to complete a single cycle. To the human eye, this movement is utterly imperceptible across generations, a shift so gradual it seems to belong to geological time. Yet, the evidence suggests our ancestors were not only aware of this celestial rhythm, they built its signature into their most sacred stones. Consider the Great Sphinx of Giza, its lion body eternally facing the eastern horizon. During the age of its construction, its gaze would have been locked directly onto the constellation Leo as it rose with the spring sun. This was not a fixed alignment, for as the centuries turned, the slow drift of precession would have caused the backdrop of stars to change, ushering in new celestial ages. The very mythology of ancient Egypt, with its stories of world cycles ending and beginning anew, reads like a symbolic narrative of this slow cosmic turning. The suggestion that they could measure this crawl of the heavens is staggering. It implies a tradition of sky watching so meticulous and so patient that it was maintained not for centuries but for millennia. How could a society track a clock whose hand moves only 1 degree every 72 human lifetimes? This feat required more than just observing the nightly dance of the stars. It demanded a sophisticated understanding of spherical geometry and a commitment to preserving data across countless generations, a chain of knowledge passed down through priests and astronomers with unwavering dedication. To encode precession is to demonstrate a consciousness of cosmic time itself, a perspective that sees humanity as part of a story spanning tens of thousands of years. It forces us to wonder what other slow, silent rhythms of the universe they understood, rhythms we are only now relearning to hear. The Parthenon stands on the Acropolis as a monument to the marriage of mind and eye. Its legendary beauty is not an accident of artistic genius, but the direct result of a rigorous mathematical code. Every proportion of this temple, from the grand sweep of its facade to the delicate spacing between its majestic columns, whispers the divine number phi, the golden ratio. This was the Greek pursuit of arete, or excellence, made visible in stone, a deliberate attempt to construct an ideal of perfection that would resonate with the very laws of the cosmos. But the mathematical brilliance goes far deeper than these elegant ratios. Look closely at the temple's base. It appears perfectly straight and level to the eye, yet it actually curves upward slightly at the center. Each of the massive columns does not stand bolt upright, but leans inward just a fraction of a degree. These subtle adjustments are known as intosses, and they represent a breathtakingly advanced understanding of human perception. The architects knew that perfectly straight lines would actually appear to sag to a viewer standing below. They calculated these minute curves and inclines with geometric precision to create an optical illusion of flawless straightness and robust stability. This was projective geometry in action over 2,000 years ago, a science of how we see the world applied to correct its own imperfections. The Parthenon is therefore more than a building, it is a philosophical statement. It proclaims that true harmony is not found in rigid mathematical lines, but in the intelligent adaptation of those lines to the human experience. It is a dialogue between the ideal world of numbers and the subjective world of perception, resolved into a single, enduring masterpiece. This architectural genius moves beyond simple ratios into the realm of the infinitely complex. Step closer to the walls of a great Hindu temple, and you will see a pattern within a pattern within a pattern. The grand silhouette of a towering Gopuram gateway is meticulously repeated in the shape of its smaller niches, and then echoed again in the tiniest decorative elements carved into the stone. This is not mere decoration, it is an early, intuitive grasp of fractal geometry, a concept we only formally defined in the 20th century. These self-similar designs, repeating at ever smaller scales, create a visual rhythm of boundless intricacy. They were built to mirror the Hindu vision of the cosmos itself, an endless divine manifestation where the same universal laws govern the vastness of galaxies and the structure of a single leaf. The temple becomes a living entity, its stone surfaces seeming to grow and breathe with an organic vitality, inviting the observer into a state of deep contemplation about the infinite nature of reality. A similar yet distinct expression of infinity unfolds across the Islamic world. Here, the language is one of pure, abstract geometry. Vast surfaces of mosques and palaces are covered in breathtakingly complex tessellations, interlocking stars and polygons that fit together with flawless precision. These are not pictures of things, but diagrams of cosmic principles. The key is that every pattern is designed without a true center or an outer edge. It can theoretically repeat forever in all directions. This was a conscious artistic and spiritual choice to represent the infinite and boundless nature of the divine, a visual code for a reality without beginning or end. Stepping back, we see a profound truth. Two vastly different cultures, separated by geography and belief, both arrived at the same architectural solution to express the concept of infinity. One used organic, recursive forms to show a universe teeming with self-similar life. The other used perfect, abstract grids to depict a transcendent and eternal order. They were building models of the cosmos based on a shared, intuitive understanding that our reality is built upon patterns of endless complexity. If they could encode such a sophisticated mathematical idea into stone, what other intuitive truths about the fabric of the universe are woven into the world's oldest structures, waiting for our modern minds to finally see them? The architectural encoding of time reaches a breathtaking climax in the jungles of the Yucatan. The Pyramid of Kukulkan, known as El Castillo, is not merely a monument to the past but a living, functioning calendar built from stone. Its very form is a mathematical equation for the solar year. Each of its 4 stairways contains exactly 91 steps. When you add these together, you get 364, and the single shared platform at the summit becomes the 365th day, completing the annual cycle in a single, elegant architectural gesture. This numerical precision, however, was only the beginning of the pyramid's genius. It was designed to transform the abstract passage of time into a dramatic public spectacle. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the setting sun casts a series of triangular shadows down the northern staircase. These interlocking shapes of light and dark coalesce into the unmistakable form of a massive serpent, a feathered snake deity, slithering down from the heavens to connect with the earth. This was not a happy accident. It was a meticulously calculated event, a fusion of astronomy, geometry, and artistry that marked a pivotal moment of celestial balance for the entire community to witness. The pyramid's 9 terraced levels further deepen this temporal code. They can be divided into 2 sections that mirror the 18 months of the Mayan Hob calendar, the foundational civil calendar that organized their agricultural and ceremonial life. El Castillo is therefore far more than a temple. It is a cosmic engine, a sacred machine where architecture, mathematics, and mythology converge to make the invisible forces of time visible and tangible. It stands as a powerful reminder that for these ancient builders, understanding the cosmos was not an academic exercise, but a way of weaving the sacred directly into the fabric of daily life. If a pyramid can be a calendar and a celestial theater, how many other ancient structures are waiting to reveal their true purpose as dynamic instruments of time? The stones themselves can sing. Deep within ancient chambers, a whisper can transform into a sustained, resonant hum that seems to fill the very air. Recent acoustic studies have uncovered a startling phenomenon at sites like the Mayan pyramid of Chichen Itza. A single hand clap at the base of its grand staircase returns as a perfect, chirping echo, a sound that mimics the sacred Quetzal bird. This is not a random acoustic fluke, but a carefully engineered property of the stone, its precise dimensions and angles calculated to produce that specific sonic signature. Venture into the underground Hypogeum in Malta, a labyrinthine sanctuary carved from solid rock, and the effect becomes even more profound. Certain oval-shaped chambers are tuned to specific frequencies. When a deep voice chants the right note, the sound amplifies dramatically, vibrating through the stone floor and creating a standing wave that can be felt physically throughout the body. This resonant frequency has been shown to affect brainwave patterns, potentially inducing states of deep relaxation or heightened awareness. What we are hearing is the ghost of a lost science, an architectural tradition that understood buildings not as silent sculptures, but as living instruments. The architects appear to have used the same mathematical ratios that govern geometry and astronomy to tune their sacred spaces. The proportions that give us the golden ratio and pi also define the harmonic intervals in music, the perfect fifth, the resonant fourth. This profound connection was known to the Greek philosopher Pythagoras as the music of the spheres, the idea that the planets in their orbits produce a celestial harmony. It seems the ancients were not just looking at the cosmos, they were listening to it, and they were building chambers to resonate in sympathy with its silent song. They designed these spaces to amplify ritual chants and specific musical notes, using mathematics to turn stone into a giant resonator. The goal was to harmonize human ceremony with what they perceived as the vibrational foundation of all reality. If a pyramid can be a calendar and a temple can be a tuning fork, then these sites were far more than places of worship. They were technological interfaces designed to align human consciousness with the fundamental frequencies of the universe itself. What other secrets might we unlock not by studying these structures with our eyes, but by finally learning to listen? Deep beneath the island of Malta lies a world carved from solid stone, a sanctuary known as the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Constructed over 5,000 years ago, this subterranean labyrinth holds one of the most compelling acoustic mysteries of the ancient world. Within its depths, you find the oracle chamber, a room that seems to defy the normal behavior of sound. If you stand in a specific niche and speak, your voice does not simply fade away. It is magnified, its resonance amplified to ripple through the entire complex, reaching every corner of the underground structure with an otherworldly clarity. This effect is not a strange quirk of the rock, it is a precise and deliberate feature. The chamber's elliptical shape and carefully calculated contours were engineered to capture and project sound waves with the accuracy of a modern concert hall. But the phenomenon goes deeper than mere amplification. Certain low frequencies, like the deep tones of a chant, do not just fill the air, they cause the very stone of the chamber to vibrate with a palpable physical energy. You do not just hear the sound, you feel it in your bones. This powerful resonance was clearly understood by the builders. They designed the chamber to respond to specific notes, turning the architecture itself into a giant musical instrument. The purpose of this sonic technology was likely profound. In a space dedicated to ritual and ceremony, a voice emerging from the walls with supernatural power would have been a transformative experience. An oracular pronouncement, amplified and vibrating through the participants, would have felt less like a human utterance and more like a message from the earth itself. This was the application of sacred mathematics to a new dimension, the invisible realm of vibration. It reveals a civilization that saw geometry not just as a tool for aligning with the stars, but as a means to tune into the very frequency of the sacred, using the power of sound to bridge the gap between the physical and the spiritual realms. Perhaps the most expansive vision of this ancient code lies not in the monuments themselves, but in the invisible lines that connect them. Across continents, from the rolling hills of Britain to the high plains of Peru, many of the world's most sacred sites appear to fall along straight tracks stretching for miles. These are the so-called ley lines, a concept that suggests a vast, hidden grid etched across the entire planet. While mainstream science remains skeptical, the sheer number of these alignments is a curious pattern that begs for an explanation. The mathematical principle at play here is geodesy, the science of accurately measuring and understanding the Earth's geometric shape. If ancient cultures possessed a profound knowledge of the planet's form, they might have intentionally positioned their temples and stone circles at specific nodes of this global grid. Many of these sites also coincide with geological features like fault lines or areas with unusual magnetic activity. This has led to the speculative but fascinating hypothesis that these locations were chosen because they were believed to channel a special kind of energy, a telluric force rising from the Earth itself. The builders, in this view, were not just constructing isolated monuments. They were engaging in a planetary-scale architectural project, plugging their sacred structures into what they perceived as the living energy grid of the world. Imagine a network of power points, each one amplified by a pyramid or a temple, all working in concert to harmonize the entire landscape. Whether this energy was spiritual, geological, or something we have yet to understand, the idea transforms our view of these sites. They are no longer solitary wonders, but interconnected nodes in a colossal, ancient web. If true, this would be the ultimate expression of their code, a mathematical map of the world's hidden energies written in stone and alignment, waiting for us to see the connections. In the coastal dawn of eastern India, the Sun Temple of Konark stands as a monumental chariot frozen in mid-journey. Its 12 pairs of immense carved stone wheels reach toward the sky, but these are far more than artistic representations. Each of the 24 wheels is a meticulously engineered timepiece, a functional sundial of breathtaking complexity. The temple itself is the chariot of the sun god Surya, pulled by 7 stone horses, and its entire form is perfectly oriented to capture the first golden rays of the rising sun, bathing the sanctum in light. This alignment was the first clue that every element of this structure served a precise, calculated purpose. The number of wheels directly mirrors the 24 hours of the day, a numerical code written in granite. But the true genius is in the details. Look closely at any one of these massive wheels. Its 8 major spokes are not uniform. They are subtly and deliberately designed at different angles. As the sun arcs across the sky, these spokes cast shadows that fall upon the intricate carvings on the wheel's rim. These carvings are not random decorations. They are a calibrated scale, allowing a trained observer to read the time of day with a precision that can pinpoint individual minutes. This transforms the entire temple facade into a colossal, decentralized clock, where time is told not from a single point, but from 24 different stations simultaneously. It is architecture as a distributed timekeeping system, a concept that feels remarkably modern. The wheels themselves are layered with further meaning, their designs incorporating cosmological symbols and geometric patterns that speak to a profound understanding of celestial cycles. The Sun Temple is therefore a triple-layered masterpiece. It is a functional scientific instrument, a powerful religious symbol of the sun's daily journey, and a complex mathematical model of the day itself. Here, the boundary between sacred art and precise engineering completely dissolves, revealing a vision where to measure time was to participate in a divine rhythm. Centuries after these ancient stones were set in place, their mathematical secrets began to stir once more. The Renaissance marked a profound reawakening, a time when artists and architects deliberately looked back to rediscover the lost wisdom of the classical world. Figures like Leonardo da Vinci became obsessed with the writings of the Roman architect Vitruvius, whose own principles were a direct echo of the Pythagorean and Platonic traditions. Da Vinci's iconic Vitruvian Man is far more than a beautiful drawing. It is a philosophical statement. It depicts a human figure perfectly inscribed within both a circle and a square, a direct visual equation linking the proportions of our own bodies to the fundamental geometry of the cosmos. Here, the microcosm of man and the macrocosm of the universe were shown to be governed by the same harmonic rules. This was not merely artistic inspiration. It was a conscious revival of the ancient belief that mathematics was the universal language through which the divine order could be understood and replicated. Da Vinci's architectural sketches reveal this same obsession. His designs for centralized churches, meticulously constructed using the golden section and Pythagorean triangles to achieve perfect balance and stability. He was not inventing a new code, he was deciphering an old one, proving that the allure of these architectural secrets had never truly faded. This period stands as a powerful bridge across time, connecting the intuitive genius of the ancient world with the burgeoning scientific spirit of a new age, all united by a shared faith in the power of number and form. Across the Atlantic, another serpent rises from the earth, this one coiling for nearly 1/4 of a mile across a ridge in Ohio. The Great Serpent Mound is not built of stone, but sculpted from the very soil, a colossal earthwork that transforms the landscape itself into a sacred astronomical instrument. Its undulating body, with its tightly coiled tail and gaping jaw, is a permanent celestial map written in grass and clay. The serpent's head is aligned precisely with the setting sun of the summer solstice, a dramatic event where the day's last light seems to be swallowed by the effigy's open mouth. But the solar alignments are just the beginning of the story. Each major curve of the serpent's body appears to point toward the sunrise and sunset at the other solstices and equinoxes, marking the sun's journey throughout the entire year. This intricate design required its builders to possess a deep, long-term understanding of the solar cycle, translating the sun's predictable path into the graceful, winding form of a serpent. Yet the most profound alignment may be lunar. Some researchers suggest that the coils also target the moon's most extreme rising and setting points on the horizon, events known as the lunar standstills. This is an 18.6-year cycle, a rhythm so slow and subtle that tracking it demands generations of meticulous observation. To encode this long celestial dance into the very shape of the land reveals a mathematical vision that thought in centuries, not just seasons. Constructing such a massive and precise geoglyph was a monumental feat of engineering. It required sophisticated surveying techniques to project complex astronomical angles onto the uneven terrain, a process of geometric planning that turned abstract celestial movements into a permanent, earthbound reality. The Serpent Mound stands as a powerful testament to the astronomical genius of the indigenous Adena or Fort ancient cultures, a people who saw the cosmos not as a distant mystery, but as a living presence whose rhythms could be woven directly into the contours of their homeland. This debate strikes at the very heart of our investigation. Are we witnessing deliberate genius or simply projecting our own knowledge onto the past? On one side, skeptics present a compelling case from the ground up. They argue that if you build any large, stable structure, certain mathematical ratios will naturally emerge from the practical needs of engineering. A pyramid, for instance, requires a specific slope to remain standing for millennia, and that slope might coincidentally produce a number close to pi. They suggest we are connecting dots that the original builders never intended to link, seeing a grand design in what was essentially advanced craftsmanship. Yet this perspective struggles to explain the recurrence of the same non-intuitive constants. The appearance of the golden ratio is not like finding a face in a cloud, a vague and subjective shape. It is a precise, irrational number, approximately 1.618, appearing in the floor plan of the Parthenon and the proportions of the Great Pyramid. The odds of this specific, complex number emerging by chance from unrelated practical constraints across multiple continents seem incredibly remote. This is where proponents point to the written records. Ancient manuals like the Roman Vitruvius's 10 books on architecture or the Indian Shilpa Shastras do not leave us guessing. They provide explicit, step-by-step instructions for builders, detailing how to use harmonic proportions and sacred geometry to infuse a structure with spiritual and cosmic significance. These texts are the smoking gun, the direct testimony from the architects themselves. Navigating this controversy requires a careful balance. It asks us to honor the sophisticated intellect of ancient cultures without slipping into unsupported speculation. We must weigh the physical evidence, the textual clues, and the statistical probabilities with a clear and respectful eye. The true answer likely lies not at the extremes, but in a nuanced understanding that recognizes their profound knowledge of the natural world. They may have discovered these ratios not through abstract calculation, but through centuries of observing the patterns of growth, stability, and beauty in the world around them. Their genius was in recognizing these universal principles and consciously encoding them into their most enduring creations, leaving behind a legacy written in stone and number for us to decipher. Rising from the jungles of Java, Borobudur is a mountain of silent philosophy carved from gray volcanic stone. This colossal Buddhist temple is not merely a building to be seen, but a path to be walked, a three-dimensional mandala designed to guide a pilgrim from a state of worldly confusion to one of transcendent clarity. Its entire structure is a physical equation for enlightenment, meticulously engineered according to a sacred numerical blueprint. The journey begins at the vast square base, symbolizing the world of desire where we are bound by our passions and attachments. As you ascend, you leave this realm behind, moving through the 5 square terraces of the world of form, where shape exists but desire begins to fade. Finally, you reach the 3 circular platforms of the world of formlessness, a realm of pure spirit, crowned by a massive central stupa representing ultimate nirvana. This architectural pilgrimage is a direct translation of spiritual progression into physical space, a climb that mirrors the inner journey of the soul. Every step of this ascent is governed by a precise mathematical code. The number of stupas, 72 in the circular terraces, the count of Buddha statues, 504, and the intricate layout of relief panels all adhere to a strict numerical schema based on sacred Buddhist numbers. These are not random figures, they are deeply symbolic, representing cycles of existence, the qualities of a Buddha, and the stages of the path to liberation. The symmetry is so perfect that the entire monument functions as a cosmic diagram and a profound meditation aid. The code embedded in Borobudur is therefore more than mathematical, it is soteriological, a map to salvation written in stone and symmetry. It asks a profound question of us today: can the very path to enlightenment be calculated, planned, and built not as a metaphor, but as a physical reality you can walk with your own 2 feet? Our modern tools are finally giving us the vocabulary to read this ancient language of stone. The discovery of these mathematical codes has accelerated dramatically, not by moving bigger stones, but by harnessing the precision of light and data. Laser scanning, known as Lidar, now allows us to create breathtakingly accurate 3-dimensional models of entire sites, measuring dimensions down to the millimeter from the safety of a computer screen. This digital preservation captures every subtle angle and worn surface, creating a perfect virtual copy for endless, non-invasive study. Once we have this model, computational software takes over, analyzing the geometry for patterns and ratios that are utterly invisible to the naked eye. It can calculate thousands of proportions in seconds, identifying the consistent recurrence of a number like pi or phi across a structure with mathematical certainty. Meanwhile, the field of archaeoastronomy uses sophisticated planetarium software to turn back the cosmic clock. Researchers can reconstruct the exact appearance of the night sky from any point on Earth, on any date in the distant past. This allows them to verify with scientific rigor whether a temple's alignment truly framed a specific star on the summer solstice 4,000 years ago. Finally, statistical analysis provides the crucial context, calculating the probability that a certain number or alignment occurred by pure chance. When the odds are astronomically low, the case for intentional design becomes overwhelming. These technologies are our modern Rosetta Stone. They are not imposing our own ideas onto the past, but instead giving us the objective clarity to finally listen to what these monuments have been trying to tell us for millennia. The stones have always held the code, but we are only now developing the tools sensitive enough to hear their quiet, mathematical whisper. This architectural language of cosmic harmony was never truly lost, its principles simply echoing down the corridors of time. The Gothic cathedrals of medieval Europe stand as a breathtaking testament to this enduring legacy. Their ribbed vaults and soaring spires were not just feats of engineering, they were exercises in sacred geometry made manifest. Master builders used the same ratios found in nature to determine every proportion, from the span of the nave to the delicate tracery of a rose window. The entire structure was a calculated device to lift the human spirit, its vertical lines and luminous stained glass directing the gaze and the soul toward the heavens. This was not mere decoration, it was a spiritual technology built from stone and light. Centuries later, the Renaissance consciously reached back to reclaim this classical knowledge, as we have seen with figures like Leonardo da Vinci, making the connection explicit once more. But the thread continues unbroken into our modern era. In the 20th century, the influential architect Le Corbusier developed his modular system, a universal scale of proportions based directly on the human form and the golden ratio. He believed that by returning to these ancient harmonic principles, he could rescue modern design from chaos and create buildings that were truly suited to human scale and well-being. From the pyramids to a Parisian apartment block, the underlying impulse remains the same. The persistent reappearance of these mathematical codes reveals a profound truth about our relationship with space. We are instinctively drawn to environments built with this hidden order, spaces that feel not only structurally sound but psychologically balanced and spiritually resonant. The legacy of the ancient builders is therefore all around us, a silent conversation between the past and present, written in the very language of number and form that continues to shape the world we live in today. The Nazca lines stretch across the Peruvian desert like a colossal map drawn for the gods. These immense geoglyphs are famous for their animal figures, a spider, a hummingbird, a monkey, all visible only from high above. But the true geometric marvel lies in the thousands of long, perfectly straight lines that cut across the plateau for miles. They form a vast network of rays and triangles, a giant's blueprint etched into the earth. How could a culture without flight create such immense, precise designs, and what was their ultimate function? Some researchers propose a deeply practical answer, that these lines were sophisticated geodetic markers. They suggest these pathways were not meant for walking, but for sighting. Many of the longest lines align precisely with the rising or setting sun during the solstices, turning the entire desert into a solar calendar. Others appear to point directly toward distant mountains that were sources of precious water, or to ceremonial centers far beyond the horizon. This transforms our understanding of the lines from mysterious art into a functional, large-scale surveying system. Creating such perfect straightness over rugged, uneven terrain required a masterful command of geometry. The builders likely used a series of stakes and cords, sighting from one point to the next to maintain a flawless trajectory across miles of desert. This was an act of immense spatial planning, a testament to a society that could think and build on a truly grand scale. The plateau was not just a canvas, but a permanent record of their environmental and astronomical knowledge. While the debate over their full spiritual meaning continues, the mathematical certainty of the lines is undeniable. They stand as a powerful reminder that ancient codes were not always hidden in chambers or carved in stone. Sometimes they were drawn on the very skin of the earth, waiting for us to rise high enough to finally see the pattern. Viewed from this global vantage point, a profound synthesis begins to take shape. These monuments, scattered across continents and millennia, are not isolated marvels but individual verses in a single, epic poem written in the language of mathematics. The pyramid, the temple, the stone circle, each one independently returns to the same fundamental vocabulary: the circle and the square, the cardinal directions, the constants of pi and phi, the great cycles of the sun and moon. This is not a coincidence of aesthetics, but a convergence of the human mind itself. It is as if these diverse cultures were all tuning their instruments to the same fundamental frequency of the cosmos, each hearing the same harmonic truth and striving to echo it back in stone. The compelling mystery is not necessarily one of contact, of a single lost civilization seeding the world with its knowledge. The evidence may point to something even more profound: the independent discovery of these principles by cultures working in complete isolation. This suggests that these mathematical ideas are not invented but discovered, inherent properties of our universe that any deeply observant and intelligent society will eventually encounter. The circle exists in the sun and the moon. The golden ratio governs the growth of plants. The cardinal directions provide a stable framework for navigating the world. These are universal experiences, and it seems our ancestors universally sought to codify them, to build permanent anchors for these eternal truths in a transient world. Whether through shared ancestry, cultural diffusion, or parallel intellectual journeys, the outcome is a stunning testament to a shared human drive. Our forebears, from the deserts of Egypt to the jungles of Cambodia, were all engaged in the same grand project, using the most durable medium they possessed to create a permanent dialogue with the universe. The ultimate hidden code, then, is not etched into any one stone, but is woven into the very fabric of human consciousness, a deep-seated longing to find order in the chaos and to leave behind a map of that understanding for generations yet to come. Our journey through these silent stone libraries reveals a world far more intellectually rich and interconnected than we ever imagined. From the precise pi of the pyramids to the celestial clocks of Stonehenge and the resonant chambers of Malta, a single thread of genius connects them all. These builders were not primitive laborers, they were master scientists and philosophers, their minds attuned to the subtle mathematics that govern the universe. They looked at the stars and saw a predictable clock, studied a seashell and found a perfect spiral, and then they embedded these universal truths into their most sacred spaces. The greatest mystery is not merely how they built these wonders, but why they invested such incredible effort to encode this knowledge in stone. Perhaps it was a profound act of faith, a way to harmonize their world with the cosmos. Or maybe it was a message cast into the deep well of time, a testament to their understanding left for future generations to discover. As our modern tools finally allow us to read this forgotten language, we are not just learning about them. We are rediscovering a part of ourselves, a universal human drive to find order in the chaos and to leave behind a permanent record of our search for meaning. The true hidden code is not in the stones themselves, but in the timeless human spirit that placed them there.